with their first phase here.
I was curious if they would let Drow through and try to play against it, because that's what they did against LFY in the very first game of the tournament earlier today, and they ended up picking the Phantom Lancer against it. I was curious just because like if there's different ways to approach this tournament. Drow through most and try to play here, like well, obviously all their TI fates are set, so these two teams are going to TI. So it's not so much that maybe you're driving stuff or anything like that, but you want to try to play against stronger lineups, like see how you stack up. So I kind of thought that they would let that Drow through as they did against LFY, and then maybe play against her, see if their counters worked against a team that has run Drow arguably better than anybody else in the last few months, e.g.
I think the scary thing with EG's Drow is it's not so much about being a Drow strat, it's about a hero that makes Sumail even more OP in the mid lane. Like, I feel like when EG run Drow, it's like, it's not even like how most teams run it. It's just like, all right, Sumail's going to be even scarier because they've got this Drow hero, and Arteezy is just going to play that stable, kind of safe lane hero that just can sit in his lane, hit creeps, do what's needed, not do anything flashy, while Sumail makes those big plays.
Yeah, the Drow just being there alone just like enables like all of their lanes. Like usually they'll run this puck as well in the off lane. It just enables everything. And then like they've always been this team that really emphasizes like lane performance. Like it's like a 2 protect 3 sometimes, right? Like they'll go around rolling, making sure that all their lanes get good matchups, and they just win from that because they snowball from that huge advantage. And they have a lot of mobility usually in their lineups too.
So EG will stick with that puck regardless of having the Drow to pair with it or not. And then for their second pickup, they're going to go with the Kunkka, which they played earlier today, and even LGD have also played themselves. So both these teams very familiar with it.
This has been a very popular hero in China, probably more so than other regions, at least in qualifiers. It's been picked up quite a bit. Just like a lot of non-ulti based, not super expensive control coming out. He can roam, he can do it right in lane. Also, he's capable of stacking ancients like very self-sufficiently. This you don't see as much because it's harder to protect, but he can potentially stack ancients like up to 10 to 12 times without any later levels, just by torrenting at the right time. So that gives him a lot of presence and like a lot of utility.
Second phase, first one to get the boot is going to be the Venomancer here, which was EG staple for a while. I don't think they've picked it yet in this event, but something they might be keeping in the back pocket for now. Not too many things to be able to consider. I mean, you've already got the puck, which is nice if they do keep it as a mid laner, let's say. Very elusive and hard for someone like the Earth Spirit to be able to gank, and when you give Earth Spirit very few options to gank in the early game, he tends to just evolve dreadfully slow in the game. Can't farm too well, and your power peaks will come few and far between, it would feel like. So it's nice to have mobility options already for EG side. Yep.
Curious to see what the Sumail versus maybe matchup's going to be. I feel like that's for me the big story with this match. The best Western mid laner versus the best Chinese mid laner. Maybe was kind of like the promised Chinese superstar like a year or two ago. He kind of fell off the radar after last TI, was it? So he's trying to make a kind of a resurgence here for his TI7 run.
Well, who did better at that 1v1 face-off? What was it?
I mean, Sumail got knocked out first round.
Yeah, so really we got to go by that logic. Sumail's clearly the worst mid laner there, so.
There's no shame losing to Paparazzi. Well, it's interesting you say that because these two are like some of the premier, like I guess, franchise players in a sense. Maybe, of course, so last year he got a huge deal from LGD. I think he had like an unprecedented like 5-year, 20 million contract or something like that to stay with LGD. So like no, they didn't sign any of their players for more than 1 or 2 years, and he got a 5-year deal. So they wanted him to be the centerpiece of their team. And then VG tried to acquire him from LGD. I think the 20 million figure actually is the figure that they tried to acquire him from LGD for. They tried to poach him, and then ultimately
20 million RMB, right?
Yeah, okay. I believe so. And then I think what happened was Scott's starting to sweat.
It's like, whoa, should have kept playing Dota, guys, and learn Chinese.
So word on the street is that LGD, as part of keeping maybe, kind of offered him like very
women, drugs. What did they give him, Jack?
They offered him Somnus.
20 million RMB. They have to give him something dank stuff to keep him on the team, I'd say.
Well, how's this for dank? Apparently, he was offered near unlimited power in the internal decision making of the team. Yeah, so he was allowed to
change your name if you want to.
Oh, I'm all aboard that.
He was allowed to kind of just make the most of personnel decisions for their team, and so. He was playing with Jixing as their offlaner for a bit, like because he couldn't really play with together with Zhao Wei. Jixing was like a very like fight heavy offlaner who wouldn't take much resources off the map.
Yeah.
That changed their play style, and then they've been waiting for that to pay off, and finally I guess this LG roster is starting to show some results, pick up some momentum.
Bro,
So
11, man.
you
That
piss
guy's
off maybe,
pissed
you're
off.
probably off the team is what you're trying to say. He's like, well, we're done with you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't stack. We're done with you. All right. Silencer comes out and Lifestealer comes out here for our second phase of picks as they unfold.
That's the combo we saw a lot in the qualifiers in SEA, at least this Batrider Silencer. You just grab one, instantly global, there's no counter initiation potential.
Ooh.
Damn, Chaos, that hero owns Lifestealer.
Yeah, this
That's like a
is-
direct counter pick, kind of.
The Silencer bat we've seen from like even remember like newbie like like a year ago. There's just
Yeah,
like it's kind of they're very methodical, like one pick off at a time. They grab a core and you can't do anything about it type of thing. The CK is interesting too because they've been picking that as well. This is a hero that had been quietly picking up steam a little bit. I don't know about other regions, but I think we've seen a little bit in NA and like in China as well. And if you go by this kind of like one pick off at a time, and then you have like certain push timings with the Chaos Knight ult, it's very difficult to deal with because nobody usually picks or itemizes to counter that.
Oh, I
Holy
love this little
gee.
guy. That's fun. The Pugna comes
So-
out, but who's playing it? Is that going to be Sumail playing it in the mid lane?
I think Crit is playing it.
I don't know. I mean, the recent Pugnas I've seen have been in the support position, a la Planet Odd, I believe.
Yeah.
Sox have been playing it as a support. Maybe they've been scrimming with EG, and maybe they got the ideas from of each other. But we've also seen Sumail play in a core position, so I wouldn't put it past them to throw it in a, I don't know where.
That was one of those dreaded EG games. I saw every time that Sumail Pugna game gets brought up, like with Peter around or Charlie around, they're just like, oh god,
I
that
thought
Pugna game.
the Oracle game was worse. That was at that Star Ladder at the house. He played mid lane Oracle at
Oh,
that
yeah.
event too, and
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
also just as what the hell's going on. That was a weird time for EG.
Watch out for the AA here. It's still on the table for LGD. If they want to make it a core silencer, it's again another hero that's been played a lot by this team and in China. It's a good natural partner for the Chaos Knight. There's a couple of kind of heal mechanics that he can deal with on EG. I wouldn't be surprised if they went that direction here and made this maybe mid silencer. Especially if they do think that it's a Pugno, I think it's a fairly good. Like Silencer's not really afraid of most mid matchups, right? Like he's immobile and he can get roamed on and killed, but just straight up in the lane, he's a pretty fearful presence, and they do have the Earth Spirit too to protect him.
They'll learn the lanes as well with this, as they have the last pick of the draft. So they'll get buried. They're going to ban the Sumail Storm, so they're expecting perhaps a mid pick coming out from EG.
Just feels a Pugna Kunkka support duo seems. I mean, you don't see it very often. I will give it that.
There's
but
not much synergy between the two
Yeah.
per se. I think you're just picking Pugna because you think this. I mean, the hero's received so many buffs over the last like 3 to 6 months that he's definitely close to that point where he's viable.
I know Giannis is out there smiling right now, even if it's in his
Yeah.
sleep when he sees that Pugna pick. I mean, this hero is incredibly fast, right? He with like boots and windlace, he moves at 400, so he just really skitters around very quickly. He scales pretty well for like he's one of those heroes that kind of trades above his position. So if he's a 4 and he's got farm, let's say he's got he's got the Ags or maybe the I'm forgetting the item name right now. If he has
Rod.
no, the how am I
Aether
forgetting
Lens?
this? Yes, yes, thank you. Aether
Yeah.
Lens, Ags, that kind of stuff. If he has that, by the time he gets to mid late game, he's very scary. Like he can keep cores alive, fight anybody.
He's still he's just so frail though. They really
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
give him anything in the HP department. This guy gets on the bad end of Reality Rift, he's gonna be one shot. It's just gonna be sucked in, boom.
I also
one shot.
believe that Drain destroys illusions, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, if he gets Ags, it will insta remove all of the Chaos Knight illusions. Late game, that is
Not bad.
pretty damn potent.
The fact, like you bring up Dakota, he's kind of squishy, kind of leans to being a support though, because you want this hero as far back as possible. If you're playing like a mid-core Pugna, at that point you're giving it farm, you have to be on the front lines, and I think that's a recipe for disaster. He's going to get lassoed, silenced, burst down, so I think he just needs to be the hero sitting back, decrep. If Chaos Knight goes on someone, you decrep him, that could be kind of nice.
What if they get Lena here for Sumail, and then you have Decrep and Lena together? That's kind of naughty.
Definitely not too bad. They could even consider just bringing Sumail Puck. I
That's
think the mid puck works good. You haven't got the Drow Ori running the puck in the offlane without the Drow isn't as kind of nice, I guess. But we'll see.
Yeah, that would mean that the
Legion
Universe
Commander.
Hero
There we go.
is going to be a Legion Commander then. And great for the clearing of a ridiculous wave of illusions, let's say, and obviously has that purge capability against the Bat Rider. You can even purge off Magnetize, let's say, or the Silence from Earth Spirit, or from Silencer. So I think that's one of your best options you can go for, actually, in the off lane.
10 seconds.
Yeah, not too many heroes have that strong dispel, and also he could create some laning problems. Just a strong laner by himself, self-sufficient, and they don't have the best necessarily for zoning him out this game either.
Perhaps that will come from this last pick, but it's going to be LGD getting the Lina. Lina versus Puck matchup most likely, as yeah, maybe does pick that one up.
Now it's EG who have to be careful with that Decrepify. Sumail is on the Pugna, by the way, right now.
Interesting.
Sumail is on the Pugna. They can still swap.
Support Puck is not a thing, right?
Yeah,
That's surely
not yet, there gods.
It could be as of
But
this game.
4th of July is barely alive. It's not still alive, actually.
No,
It's 5th of
it's
July
2
here.
a.m.
But in China, it's the 6th of July. No, I don't know.
In Hawaii, are we 4th of July maybe?
Maybe. And EG are saying, we've got the most patriotic meta you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Wow, I am looking forward to seeing this. Well, I mean, we saw the Sumail AA mid, right? So you've got to trust in the.
We've seen Sumail AA mid, Oracle
Crit
mid.
Puck.
We've seen Nyx mid, a
Damn.
Shanghai major. He did the Nyx mid. You were talking a lot about, the other time we saw that Puck. Okay, well, Crit Puck.
We'll see if there's a swap. I'm still like,
Cool. So what's at stake here? Both these teams yet to have a scratch on their record. Leading at the top of the pack with the nice 3-1, or sorry, with a 3-0 would pretty much secure you a upper bracket. I might be pretty bold with that. There's still, 6 games after that to go, but it's
they
good.
only play 7 games.
oh,
'Cause
7
there's 8
games.
teams.
Oh, you're right.
So you'd be pretty close to secured. Top
Yeah.
top 4 is winning bracket.
With both these teams have been already pushing past what many would consider the best competition. Both of them have played OG already in this event.
Yep.
And if LGD take a win here, then they could feel pretty confident that they've gotten past some of the biggest titans of the tournament.
Yeah, that's a big thing to look forward to coming into this TI. Like I've heard some Chinese fans or observers say that they just don't think the Chinese teams stack up to the best Western squads right now. The phrase they use translates something to like noob chickens biting, nipping at each other, basically. As in,
Oh, they're saying that their own teams are like new little chickens biting at each
kind
other?
of. It's like the tier 2 squads kind of just all beating each other up for these qualifier spots, but none of them would beat the Western powerhouses right now. That's kind of the feeling that like Newbie has been the most consistent and strong Chinese team the last few months.
Yeah.
And for like most of this year, but then Newbie seems to have like kind of caps against the very best Western teams. So we'll have to see.
Damn.
LGD can fulfill their destiny.
This deep roam by Mr. 11 up here on his manta rays. Scout things out as Arteezy does. Waltz on by. He already has his own Obs Ward planted. And we'll see that rotation.
It's going to become the classic China offlane plays from what I've seen a lot over the last few months is block the pull camp and then camp your hero in these trees to pull a creep wave to get your level 2. Seen this countless times. See if Arteezy sniffs him out. He is going looking. He will find him.
Right to him.
Yep, Arteezy knows
Right
the tricks.
to him. And 11,
He's
not going to
out.
be happy about it, but he's got to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, down and below, EG up to some shenanigans here. A 3-man smoke movement with Crit Universe and Zai. Universe leading out the front. A Torrent actually connects right on top of where the bounty rune is. They say, get the hell out of there, and they're going to be grabbing up Universe, the bounty. That means EG score 3 of the 4 bounties to start this one out, and flexing what looks like an aggro lane.
Yeah,
And
although
support Crit Puck.
Bat's going to get a 1v1, but this is not like the best 1v1. He's got this boots first. He really wants to just force Arteezy to farm under the tower by dragging this creep wave, but he's only going to get the range creep. This is a bit of a rough start for his offlane.
Arteezy able to zone him totally back. Not even going to the wave himself to farm up creeps. He's totally fine with just kind of bullying 11 back as much as possible here, but we want to also keep eyes down here and below. Crit positioning himself through the trees. Only has that level 1 orb here, but we'll see. Torrent not going to quite catch its mark. They will be able to kind of back on out, but already heavy pressure onto the CK in the lane.
This is looking like a very strong laning set from EG already, with the Bat having a pretty good matchup is a 1v1, but there is going to be an Earth Spirit involvement as well, but I feel like Arteezy's still going to do just fine. And this Chaos Knight bottom is struggling to even move forward to get CS.
Yeah, not easy ganking options again for the Earth Spirit, as we saw there. Trying to roll in onto Arteezy, but Arteezy already pretty safe under that tower, has Rage, has ways to be able to kind of avoid the trouble. Meanwhile, mid lane, it's Zai rotating over onto his Kunkka. Hits up maybe with a Torrent and is just going to zone him back a bit to ensure this laning phase pretty much across the board. The first kill is actually going to be in the top lane. It's 11 who takes down Arteezy, walks away barely alive, but all right, step away one moment and suddenly it's Arteezy who goes down.
Yeah, he got really low tanking creeps. He had Rage on, and as soon as the Rage wore off, Victoria just rolled over through the trees, got the first blood. But EG has been okay with sacrificing Arteezy at times, or kind of letting him catch up later. In this case, like, they'll want Universe to have a good start to start setting some tempo and being able to threaten towers as well off those pushes with the Sumail there mid. But I also like that they're kind of trying to go at the Chaos Knight a little bit. The Chaos Knight is a very fast hero, as we see a fight happening here.
Yeah, it's maybe looking to go in for the rune. He's caught between two. Zai and Sumail traded out. Sumail, though, gets blasted down. Maybe gets that kill first before Zai will ultimately get a little bit of redemption there.
Yeah, despite the nerf to the Dragon Slave damage, it was still enough there. But so the CK is a mobile hero, and he's got a good amount of HP, but he does not have high armor, and early on he doesn't really want to be using his spells too much because they're extremely high mana cost. So I think it was a nice idea to start off with a tougher lane for him. He doesn't get off to as good of a start. He can't really fight back that effectively early on.
Yeah. Seems like they're just using Yao to just constantly spam Arcane Curse, be as annoying as possible, but ultimately this bottom lane for LGD has been stabilized, and they're just kind of looking to farm, as you said. CK's actually got highest CS for now, so this pressure at bottom has not really amounted to a whole lot.
They're doing the pressure instead. Up at the top lane, it would look like, trying to get a commitment onto 11. He bumps him back just a bit, and with the help out from Victoria, he's able to hit a good boulder smash. Zai can't get close enough to finish it off, and Arteezy is just on the run, looking to avoid getting taken down once again. It looks like he will be able to create enough space, but a nice quick save there, and 11 will be able to make the trip all the way back home.
Not too bad. Arteezy's still just so low. It's going to kind of struggle to stay in this lane farming. Even though it was EG getting aggressive, when they don't get a kill and Arteezy gets pressured like this is still concerning.
And now you have this kind of awkward phase now. If they can't hang in that bottom lane, you have a roaming crit puck who now suddenly shows up into the mid lane here. Hits off a couple of spells. We'll zone back maybe a bit, but, you know, just trying to alleviate a bit of the pressure here. While top lane, the pressure's coming in from LGD. It looks like Victoria rolls in onto Arteezy, and now 11 and Victoria are slowly waddling him down. Arteezy will pop the wand and get zoned all the way back, but he's going to start to get bullied here if he doesn't get some extra help. EG are snagging up some bounties, though. They actually grabbed 3 of them once again here.
Yeah, EG a lot more active right now with their supports for the most part. We've seen Puck make a lot of moves, Kunkka as well. For the most part, Silence is just sitting bottom supporting. He has now moved mid. It looks like LGD are kind of reacting to EG's pressure. Trying to bring all the attention towards this mid lane now.
There we go. It's going to be Victoria rolling on in, looking to go for Sumail. He's a very weak little Pugna. He's dead for sure. Nice setup. Good kill. And that's the downside, is I thought initially, you know, when they got the first phase puck, it's like, oh, yeah, Earth Spirit can't really gank a puck, but Pugna, that's food.
Well, they had the ward, but Earth Spirit was on the other side of the ward, so managed to go in kind of undetected, find the kill. Definitely a nice one to get to try and shut down or slow down Sumail in the early game. But we'll see if there's going to be any follow-up, because just the one death, the 2 deaths on Sumail now, but he's back in the mid lane. He may actually get ganked again.
Oh, yeah, rolling in there and dead once more. This is, you know, when does that Pugna just come online, you know? When does that little guy just come online? When does he actually become a threat? It's a while.
Well, yeah, I think this is really why I felt like this was going to be a support Pugna. The hero as a mid is so squishy and prone to just getting ganked like we're seeing.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much you can do. It's your role just to go back mid, keep farming, but they're going to just keep on going for those kills.
Yeah, especially against high burst heroes. And he doesn't, like, until he is 6, he doesn't really have the capacity to even potentially turn things around or defend himself. He doesn't have a point in ward either, which wouldn't necessarily stop an onslaught, but it's a pretty good value to put one point in that. And
Jack, I gotta interrupt you. You're the Chinese Dota expert. What the heck is this Chaos Knight build?
you mean the skipping?
No
skipping
stun
is
at all.
chaos
Hold
Yeah,
on, we got action. It's Yao. He's getting mugged in the river. It's wet and it's wild.
Is this the norm?
I don't think so. I
What
think
is that?
I've never
Reality
seen
Rift
this
3,
in my
2,
life.
No stun at all.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just like I'm never seen this in my
it's
life.
unusual. Maybe he figures that
They're
with
not
the,
killing.
with the Legion Commander or with the Puck able to phase shift or with the Lifestealer able to rage, he's not really expecting to get much use out of that Chaos Bolt early on.
Okay.
It'll either get debuffed instantly or it'll just be dodged. He just wants to be able to.
All right, there's
Man
the
up
one
on
stun,
people.
but if they had another
He's
stun
doing just
there,
that.
maybe, you know,
He's
could got more damage.
He's
in.
going to just be able to spam Reality Rift, but until you get like level 4 Reality Rift, it's got a decent sized cooldown.
Now they are actually going to be pressuring the CK quite a bit. They hit him up with the Torrent and the Orb. Victoria trying to roll it on in, and he just keeps on rolling on through. They're going to be able to get the CK down and make it a 2-for-0 special.
He wishes. I just feel like if you're going to go this build, at least go 1-3-1. Get like the 1 point in the stun. I mean, level 1 is not exactly the most value point in terms of the stun duration, but it's still like the damage can be pretty useful.
Yeah, and then getting points in the crit early, the Chaos Strike. I mean,
It doesn't scale well when you have no items. It
Yeah.
goes from 125% to 175%. It just seems
Ooh,
odd.
long roll in all the way for Sumail. They got the Laguna, and they're going to be able to get the reach to blast him down. And suddenly it could be LGD getting a 2-for, almost get the finish onto Zai, but he just barely walks away alive.
I also think it's like the lowest percent crit proc in the game, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, when you don't have like, you're not really attacking that much early on. I just don't see you really getting anything out of it. So.
But when it hits, man, it's so hard, man. You're going to hit
Yeah,
that
sure,
creep,
you
and
get
it
the
might
lifesteal,
it
too.
might die on one hit. It's going to be crazy.
I don't know, like even if you don't manage to keep someone stunned with the Chaos Bolt, like you still might get some good damage out of it. You're trading that for, let's say, a Legion Commander press the attack. I mean, it's not the worst thing, right? So,
Yep. That's the thing, you're trading mana. Like, Legion Commander would rather be using overwhelming odds than press the attack, so... With that said, he's got Tread Soaring, so mana is not going to be too big of a problem for Universe, but...
yeah, I think Ame's up for a report. That's really...
If I saw my Chaos Knight do this in a pub game, and I hadn't seen this pro game right now, I would be flaming the shit out of him. I'd just be like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like,
Let this pro game not be an encouraging sign to.
I mean, I played a pub game with Mason a couple days ago. He was Luna. He didn't level ulti on Luna until level 11. I'm just like, I'm playing a support in his lane. I'm like, we can kill this guy. Let's go. And I'm like, wait, you're an ulti? Okay.
We saw Firolina not level Laguna Blade to level 9, I believe, at least
Yeah.
once in one of those games too. So.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's a much more efficient farming build. There's some legitimacy to these builds.
Okay, moves on the bottom lane. Just as EG supports roll out, they make the roll in for Universe now. Are they going to be able to secure the finish with that rift? It should make it no problem. There it is. It's going to be Ame who secures it. He doesn't need a stun for that one, boys.
It's kind of a surprise there, right? I guess if you're not expecting, well, he hadn't seen a Chaos Bolt all game, so he might have suspected it. But the Reality Rift at level 4 does have a 6-second cooldown, so given his natural speed, if you have any kind of slow, he is able to run people down when they're in kind of a helpless position.
All right, the big question: if you're going to go this build, why does he have a Mango? You know, I accept the build, but why do you have a Mango? Come on, man. You're not going to get to that point where you need that Mango.
You need
The
a
health
Soul Ring
regen,
for
bro.
constant
Nah,
Reality Rift.
Yeah. He'll need it maybe with the ulti now. You know, it's possible.
Some vitamin C. Mangoes have vitamin C? There's citrus fruit. I'm sure they have some of that in there.
I'll do it.
Long roll all the way in for Sumail once again. They have a Laguna. They love to deja vu this one, and they're going to do it. Sumail, the victim of punishment every time I look at this mid lane. Poor Pugna, man. He just has no gains at all.
Yeah, we talked about it and kind of hyped up this Sumail versus maybe matchup, but this game is looking pretty one-sided as far as the mid lane goes. And
Bottom lane is also glutton for punishment onto Universe. It seems like LGD are always privy to when he has no backup nearby, and they just make their move in. He's trying to juke within the trees, tries to do the juke back, runs right through Ame, does the do-side-do. I love that one, but then they finally cut the tree, and then they square up onto each other. Universe needs a little bit more, but can't quite get it in. Crit tries to help out, throws out the orb, but Ame's still hitting in strong, and suddenly Victoria's going to roll into action here, and Sumail rotated away from the mid lane, gets in with the action, hits him up with the blast, and then there's the finish. It's suddenly a double kill. The Pugna is back in the game, boys.
Damn, that's recovery. He's still a bit under-leveled. He's still a full 2 levels behind Lena. About to be 3 levels behind Lena, but definitely nice for Sumail to get that influx of gold and a nice rotation coming out from him. Definitely see the power of this CK build there. He's going for 3rd point in Chaos Strike. He is all in on the crits. The really nice thing, I think, about this is it's definitely the cooldown, but also the armor reduction. It scales really nicely. You get up to 7 minus armor with every use. So it's kind of like a mini amp damage.
Ooh. Roll in, gets the ward out from Sumail. Though also going to be shifting in from Zai. They don't really find their targets, but they are going to find the window to move in and allow Sumail to just cleanly finish out that tower.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Gods, it's also good for 8 seconds, so you only get the stacking.
Coils up. They're able to get the snap out of Ame. They hit him with the Decrepify. That drain has long range, but not that quite long. But they are going to allow the move in, the duel, and the duel damage to be rewarded to Universe. That's going to be your first successful duel of this game.
I mean, EG just committing more heroes to this bottom lane. If LGD want to stick around and fight this, they need to be bringing in maybe's Lena at that point, and he kind of rotates in after the fight's already broken out, and that's not going to cut it if they want to defend bottom. They either had to kind of make a decision to defend it or just to abandon it. They kind of ended up somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, them kind of almost lollygagging around a bit has created a bit of space for Artur to
lane.
follow through that mid lane, but top lane, 11 had been here, farming up quite a bit. Him and Crit now trading within the tower. It's so low. He wants to be able to move in and get a hold of it. Zai tries to go for a Valiant Torrent, but can't quite get it. Even a scan going to be taken out, but Crit will ultimately get the deny on that tower.
That Blink Dagger, I believe that was the kind of reveal, so to speak, but not too big a deal.
Yeah, he'd been showing it in the lane, farming through the creeps before that, but he hasn't been able to debut it. Any sort of bloodshed, if you will. That might be something they look to now. I imagine when he gets back to the base, maybe they grab a smoke or something. They have a lot gathering towards this mid lane. Man, this Silencer,
Level
he is
4,
so
yeah.
under-leveled. I was just going to say, I'm clicking on him like, they got a global, good to go, right?
Yeah.
No. 13 minutes, he's level 4. There's no global here.
Our brains went the same place. Like, all right, Blink Lasso time, is the global up? And then I'm like, whoa, he's level 4.5. Did he not get the tomb? Victoria's level 7. I guess he took the tomb.
Value the Magnetize, which they'll have. 4 stones and a Magnetize is plenty.
Whoa.
But oh, it's actually EG on the move, and they have the high ground move in, and they're going to be the ones to debut a kill onto the Bat, who is not going to get that successful showcase of the Blink Dagger here.
They wish they had a global there.
Oh boy, now it's EG rolling on through. Victoria dishes out the Boulder Smash, but you know, they're just trying to see where EG's approach is, but they're here to simply take over the lane. And the benefits of having the Pugna when you have a posse push like this one is he gets quick tower damage in. That Nether Blast does a lot of work, and I don't know if it's something that you consider getting at level 15 for the talent. Do you get Nether Blast cooldown or Decrepify duration?
Ooh, I'm not actually sure, because it used to be
Yeah, it was something else before.
something else. I guess it was a respawn talent that got replaced.
Okay, they get the tower here, and they're looking to get a follow-up onto maybe a big one as Arteezy rages right past the whole team. Can't quite get the finish, though, and now he finds himself in a Lasso Laguna play, and he will be evaporated from the game. It's going to be EG now looking to withdraw. Ame rotating in towards the shrine is able to get a cutoff onto Crit. Pulls him in with the Reality Rift, and they can't quite get him yet. He jumps to the other side. They lock him down, and then they'll finally be able to bring down a couple. Sumail, though, on the back lines. Able to get a nice cleanup onto Yao, while Crit commits in with the coil. Looking to go for the finish onto 11. Will be able to get it, but it costs him his own life. Back at the mid lane here, the back end of what looks like the mega kill streak from Sumail. The Pugna now online with a 4-staff. He's ready to play as he gets the finish on CK.
It used to be, as you said, it used to be a respawn talent. It was a 30-second respawn that was changed. So that was like pretty huge for Pugna, and that's kind of maybe surprising that you didn't see more Pugna mids, because again, you hit that 15 quickly, and then he's just constantly like in fights, constantly taking down towers. He's difficult to bring down. Feels like you really have to burst him down if you're fighting this hero, and that's kind of an issue. As for taking the
oh, this is going to be probably oh, sorry, I thought Yao was going to be in trouble here.
It looked like there was going to be a fight there, but you know, what you mentioned before with the experience, Dakota, was pretty important when they take that tower, because both EG supports were level 7 despite starting off in the aggro tri lane. So they have that much more presence. They have bolts in the fight, and compared to not having global silence. You see Pugna catching up very nicely. Like, he had trouble in lane, but he kept up the CS for the most part. He was able to really siege down these towers, and when he rotates successfully, like bottom, gets those kills, the tower just disappears. That's one of the advantages of that Pugna. But I think if you get the, if you end up getting the Nether Blast instead of the Decrepify, it's very mana intensive. I mean, you'd have more burst and like a shorter fight, but maybe not as sustainable. So.
Let's go full Aether Lens now to go with this 4-staff. I think the key strategic thing for EG has been just getting Arteezy involved really early. Like as soon as he rushed the arm lane, as soon as he got it, he was infesting in his teammates, looking for pickoffs. He did not play a farming lifesteal at all. And considering you've got a mid Pugna, normally you'd say, oh, maybe you want to have at least one of your cores farming, but I think he recognizes that their draft is on a bit of a timer. They don't want to get into a farm game against LGD's lineup. They want to be setting the tempo, and that's exactly what EG have managed to do over the last 5-10 minutes.
See a lot of lifestealers go for that Midas these days, especially if they're going to fight. So it's like, oh, I'm not going to have time to hit creeps. I want to still keep up my income. But given his laning situation, as you said, Gods, there's no way he was going to go for that this game. And then with the Pugna available, again, like they can take Roche relatively early on. He can protect Arteezy or from the back lines, and they can just take objectives very quickly.
Move for bottom. It's support staff rolling in with a coil and a bow, and then with Universe stepping in, he'll get the duel and the free damage too.
It's a level 10 Kunkka already. Like, their supports are just way ahead of LGD's. Puck himself, almost level 10. The level difference is incredible between the two.
And Jack was alluding to it a bit. Once the bottom lane equalized out, we saw both Crit and Zai just run around the map, getting the mileage in. They were picking up the opponent's bounty runes, their own bounty runes, and just making ganks and setups, following them up with tower takedowns. And now the supports are just so swole that you can't help but feel like that LGD just probably missed a huge power peak window by not having that global silence earlier.
Yeah.
There was a huge fight. That whole fight would have been so different if there was this global. They use it now, but EG are simply walking out the other direction and nothing's going to come from it.
Yeah, something stopped the bat's blink, it looked like. I'm not sure exactly what. When he was kind of went in, it looked like Silencer thought he was about to blink and popped a global. Didn't blink until a second later and didn't even get the lasso off. That was a big fumbled opportunity for LGD. You've got to get value out of that global, because now EG, they're probably going to look to just back off for like next 20-30 seconds, push out these lanes, and then group up for another fight or a smoke, because fighting while global's down is going to work out well for them.
Could always be something fun, like you hit Firefly while ward's out, and suddenly you lost your blink cooldown.
Yeah, I think it likely was the Nether Ward, actually. That's a good point.
Nether Ward will just snipe your blink cooldown like that, and you don't even know what's going on. But he does get a second opportunity, but oh, just like that, they quickly cancel it out. They will be able to get the follow-up Laguna and finish onto Universe there. A hard Roman commitment from LGD will reward them the LC, but will they walk it out without losing anybody here? Quick blink, and the Batrider's going to be gone.
Well, nice little pick. Nice, quick and easily done, even with the fast reaction from the Kunkka to try and bail him out. It really feels like a very interesting and unique approach to this game from EG. They seem to... I feel like my assessment's kind of like they seem to have a better understanding of how to play the patch right now, with just fighting a lot more early on. Also distributing the farm at levels. I think there's been like a recurring theme with some of these supports that they're heavily under-leveled around that 10 to 15 minute stage, but EG have managed to get a lot of experience across the board, and that's really giving them a big teamfight advantage. Just having all these extra levels, like maxing out the X early, giving them a long-range initiation. Puck having levels in both Silence as well as the Orb. He's also going to have a Blink now. EG's just farm distribution has been a lot better than LGD, who have kind of gone all in on this Lina getting farmed, and Lina cannot carry this game alone.
Yeah, that's been a good point. They've been able to find successful fights. I think that's been the crux of the experience advantage in their supports. I think like one of the supports is, so Zai's got 3 kills and Crit's got 4, and so like that alone, taking these successful fights or being there to end streaks or kill cores has kept their experience up. And as we see a smoke play coming out from like LGD has kind of a traditional, like the Chinese always say, like tempo quite a bit type of lineup where like you play around the cooldowns of, you know, Bat or Lina if just one person dies. But the in-between game I think belongs to EG. When there aren't these big cooldowns, they can take these skirmishes very well. And if LGD aren't together to answer it, as we see the smoke coming around mid, they could pay the price.
Oh man, EG have potential to set up right behind LGD's positioning, as they're the team checking out the Roche camp right now, and once they notice nobody's around, they move right in for it, but EG are just outside Crit.
Silencer may get
Arteezy.
caught if he's not careful.
And he does have global up. If they can get the first pick on the Silencer right away, it would be huge. But look at this EG actually drawing out a movement towards the bottom lane. They're just going to move in for the tier 2 during this, and LGD will just get the free Aegis.
They seem to just not... I think if they knew they would contest it, the puck was waiting right where Silencer walked to. He just walked there like 2 seconds after the puck left. That would have been the easiest Silencer kill of his life if he just was a little bit more patient, but he doesn't see or know what was going on. I don't even know. I imagine there was a good chance EG didn't even realize Roche was going down, or if they did, they just didn't want to play around the pit because their vision in that area is non-existent right now. So fighting around blind spots at night is very tricky to do.
Yeah, they might have reasoned that LGD knew about the smoke or had seen it and had like backed up or from their camps. Instead, LG was even further beyond them, actually inside the Roche pit. So
I think there's like if they know they're in the Roche pit, they had a high ground advantage. They were coming in from the south. They would definitely have contested that. I don't think that was a decision from EG to let it go. They got caught a bit by surprise by it. They don't have a traditional Roshing lineup. It's actually this Reality Rift that allowed them to do Roche with that minus armor, giving him a lot of bonus damage from all sources.
He also went right into the Echo Saber. I don't know if you guys talked about that much. Is it something necessary just so you get the most out of after that Rift follow-up? I guess it helps a bit with his farming, which he does not have the fastest farm. You don't have to hold this because here comes a potential for a swinger. EG, oh, they're positioning. Crit is creeping around. Oh, the smoke is going to get instantly popped. He moves in. The quick bomb hit. Trying to get the jump onto the Bat Rider, but it is going to be the snag catch onto Arteezy with the Laguna. He could be taken out of the fight, but he gets a new infest off. It's going to be on Sunail, but look at him get quickly battered down. The pullback is there, and now it is EG on the run back. LGD, though, are able to run down Arteezy, hit him with the curse, hit him with the stun. The purge is there from Universe, but it's not going to be enough. He goes down. Big fight for LGD. Their positioning actually turned out to be the better there.
Quick fingers on the blink.
Yeah.
That Lina gets caught with a... It basically made the entire Infest combo. The Puck and the Life Stealer couldn't use their spells. Puck misses the silence. It also means Life Stealer, when he pops out of the Infest, couldn't actually hit anyone. He wasted his entire rage and then gets lassoed, so... if you miss that initiation with the Infest Bomb, you're in a terrible spot, and that's exactly what maybe caused them to do with some fast reactions.
Oh, he tried to hide under that glimmer, but Ame crosses the street, crosses paths with a pirate, and makes him walk the plank.
Chaos Knights. It's wreck and face. He hasn't, I mean, he's got farm now, but he was kind of slowing down a little bit with a couple of deaths. He's died 4 times this game, but at this point he's looking very tricky to deal with. Hugner's queued up a mech, and I feel like this is a direct response to like what this Chaos Knight's doing right now. He's gonna get lassoed.
Yes, he is. Pugna kidnapped, pulled back and away into the arms of Somnus, aka Maybe. Laguna's him down. Not a cool name, Maybe. I'm sorry.
yeah, he's going for that. Sumail wants that Grieve so he can take off Global Silence. And Pugna, that is silence, is very uncomfortable, not able to do anything, and very susceptible to being bursted down. So.
Ooh. Jump in right away, pull back, and then that is the life of Zai.
Well, apparently going all in on Maybe's Lina was the right play. It's working out just fine.
Yeah.
Under-leveled Silencer, you don't care. As long as you're level 6, you're happy. And a quick turn of events, see EG. That Roche, EG were actually in the better position when that Roche was going down. They just didn't check it. They had... That smoke was perfect. They were coming in from behind. They could have caught the Silencer, stopped the Global Silence getting used. Obviously, this is what we see. EG don't see it, but...
Yeah. Oh, they'll see it when they go back and check the replay gods, and then they're going to see, oh my god, what happened? Yeah, that maybe an opportunity had just gotten away from them.
Their team fight's scarier if they get their spells off, and that's always the tricky thing, is if you get the Ghost Ship with the Puck Dream Call, there's a lot of good synergy where you land all those spells together. You have the Pugna Nether Ward to stop your opposing team using... It completely ruins this Lina, although not anymore that she's got BKB, but... The key thing is for LGD, to win a fight is they need picks, and that's what the Bat Rider gives them, that's what the Chaos Knight gives them.
That was cute. Ame trying to jump up from the low ground using the benefit of that ward. Now reveals the ward is there, but try to get a nice little grab up on Arteezy there.
That ward served its purpose. It was the Roche securing ward.
Yeah.
That Aegis has kind of given LGD this massive lead now.
Yeah, I don't know what plan B is now for EG. Their late game is pretty much all on the shoulders of wherever Arteezy's current farm is at. You have the infinite scaling Legion Commander, but Universe with only 20 dual damage. doesn't feel great.
Arteezy's not farming well. Without the Midas, he's not going to farm particularly fast. He's going for a Lincoln Sphere, so he's going to be a harder target to deal with because you can't just straight up lasso him, but at the same time, he's not going to deal damage. You can ignore him, throw some Force Staffs around, kite him around. I don't think he's going to be too big of a problem this game.
Yeah, there was kind of a point where LGD felt like, rather EG came online a little bit, like the blink up on Universe, the ultimates up on the supports, they're ready to go take some towers. But again, that smoke was huge. They haven't been able to find these like smaller skirmishes that they want to be taking. Pugno requires like a good amount of defensive farm because even if he's itemized to get the Greaves against the Silence, he still doesn't want to be disabled or blown up, so it feels like he's going to need a BKB too. And an Aghanim at some point. There just doesn't seem to be the space on the map to support that right now, so they have to go as 5 and find some successful fights, either if LGD is separated, because then their ults can only do so much to protect them. But if LGD are together with the Global Silence, with their ults right now, I think it's going to be very hard for EG to fight into them.
AG already trying to fight into him at this moment. They have plenty of deep vision into LGD's territory, so they're trying to fight around their vision, but LGD, whether it's game sense or maybe having the better bit of intel, they have this very deep ward down here on EG's side. Avoid EG altogether, and as long as they can kind of play the economy game right now, we're going to be bringing in better farm and better late game potential for their team.
There's a saying for that in Chinese. Well, it's kind of like a folk pub saying. So if you have one of those supports who goes like Midas travels, the phrase in Chinese is like not listening, Midas travels. Another one for that is like not fighting, pushing lanes and taking towers. So that's kind of the other strategy that LGD are going with right now. They're kind of avoiding these big fights, but they are able to take a big fight. If they're all there, they have their ults and they have the global. Again, they're fine in that situation. The worst case scenario for them is to be caught out in a small skirmish with just 1 or 2 heroes and having to expend an ult that doesn't give them enough value on its own.
Ooh, a jump in from EG here to get the move onto Bat. The silence is going to be coming out, and Ame's already swinging it away. Takes out Universe on the back of his BKB. Now looking to move it onto Arteezy. His Lincolns will be popped, but he gets some help from Zai nearby with that Glimmer Cape, but the chase continues here. Ame spots him out, gets the rift, gets the pullback, and they begin to hit it home, but Arteezy's turning around. He's man-fighting this one, and he's leeching it up, and they will get the takedown of CK. Follow-up's going to be there. Crit commits him with the coil, but Victoria's rolled into action.
Oh,
Laguna is going to get canceled out from the Lincolns there. Arteezy, though, hit with the Magnetize. He will try to toggle and fight his way through this one and gets the takedown of Victoria and secures the double kill. He will walk away a man alive, and EG get the fight they were hoping. A fight from the high ground. A jump suddenly onto the Bat Rider, and then chaos.
So that is exactly what we were just talking about. That was they had their ults up at LGD, but that was a skirmish. They only had 2 or 3 heroes at the start of the fight. And because of that, they don't get enough value out of the global silence. You need to burst down 1 or 2 heroes, it feels like, with that global. Otherwise, you can't take an extended fight against EG. So I think that was the issue there. Again, like, they found a fight, but it was only 3 people. They committed their big ults. EG were able to take the rest of that skirmish. And you can't have a fight start like that if you're LGD. If you're going to fight at all, it's got to be, I think, with your whole team at this point. Given how their lineup works, given how important it is that CK deal critical damage in the time span that he has his ult and BKB. If you don't do that, then as the fight drags on, they can't deal with the sustain of evil geniuses.
He held his ult a long time. He was kind of like knowing that if he used it, his illusions might get spammed down. And he also just wanted to BKB and right click, but he got very little value out of that 10-second BKB. I think crucially for EG is they were the ones getting the jump. They caught the Bat. There was no lasso into Global Silence. The Global Silence was trying to protect the Bat. It wasn't to cover a lasso being used. The Bat still died, so...
Ooh, just got Sumail. Oh, okay. Follow-up here. Universe says, let's swing. Goes in with the Blade Mail duel. Him and Crit try to get the best of Ame, but they are not winning that fight. Yao and Ame, with a late appearance of Victoria, will get the better of it. Does expend a BKB charge, but he wins, and now 2 will go down from EG's side. They scout out the Roche, but it looks like they will need another minute before the big boy responds.
Ame with that devastating crit onto Sumail. Basically tore him to pieces there.
Yeah, even now Pugna's still kind of, weak for HP on most core. 1425 just kind of seems still pretty frail.
Curious to see what this Chaos Knight goes level 20 for his talent. He goes to stats, okay. We were talking about this earlier, like it seems a lot of the Chinese players really don't like getting GPM talents. We'll see Zai getting picked up on Kunkka. Just out on a little, I think, warding expedition with his Glimmer Cape, get caught and punished, but It's definitely, I think, difference between the Eastern and Western players is the Western players definitely prefer the GPM talents a lot more than their Eastern counterparts.
This is pretty good timing at the moment. Crit is pushing in pretty hard for this bottom lane as LGD are hoping to fall back in for the Roche. So they may not have their whole team committed for a fight at that point.
I think it's a harder decision in this case because they might, well, maybe they feel that they should be able to end the game soon, and then if that's the case, like, as we see, the fight started there onto Sumail.
They pull him back, they hit him with the Laguna, but he's able to hit the mech. He runs out on the back of his Decrep, he gets some help with the Lincolns and makes it inside for once. Sumail not going to be evaporated out from a gank.
Split push bottom, he's doing
But
some
yeah,
work.
Crit is still going in for this bottom lane push. He actually managed to get the tower to about a third of its life, and like mentioned before, LGD were not going to be able to follow up with the Roche takedown or any serious base damage. The tier 2 will get dropped, and now it's going to be EG already on the fight back. They smoke and they head back towards this Roche area. Will they do it, though, if they notice that LG are not around?
So they want to go for the pick first. They can catch someone like Ame, that'd be huge. Global Silence being down is the big pot here, and LGD.
Universe
wow,
going distances way far, too far, and he's not going to be able to get the grab. Ame just turns around and just manhandles him right out of the game. Arteezy looks to be next here. They hit him up with a good Glimmer Cape. Crit, oh my god, he just gets insta-killed on that one. Arteezy seems to be next. They slide everything they got on forward. Zai tries to help out, moving in with the boat. It slows him down a bit, but already LGD have gotten the big prize winners. And it looks like they will get Zai as well. Man, he's going to get the deny. No. Yeah, we'll get the finish there. Sumail also going to be going down. It's all 5 that are dropped here, gentlemen. Oh.
Sometimes you initiate, sometimes the initiation comes to you.
That was just like, he was like, that was a long jump and a half.
Yeah.
And the half was just a bit too much.
That was bold and ambitious. If it pays off if they get the jewel, I think likely the Chaos Knight can get bursted down there without a Global Silence to cover him. It's such a small, tiny little bit of inches separating them there. If he just was a little bit closer, it could have just been a completely different team fight with EG wiping LGD.
Sahil the Brave, fearlessly charging in.
You know, I think that's a good quality to have in your offlane. You don't want an offlaner who's scared to initiate, though. That's the kind of mistake I feel like after a game, like you don't want to like give your offlaner too much. Yeah, you don't want to harp on it or give your offlaner shit for doing stuff like that. He's gonna know like he fucked up, but as his teammate, you can't like fault him for that. You want an offlaner who's willing to take those risks.
He was courageous for sure, but then Ame turned around and gave him the stank eye, man. Punched him. He just punched him into another dimension. He's like, nice try.
Well, usually as CK, you have this problem where people are trying to fly the kite around you, and then you're just trying to like, hey, come here, buddy. You know, I've got a reality rift illusions for you. But then that kind of just came to his doorstep right there.
Yeah. Sometimes the gifts just land in your lap like that, and for a CK, that is just a dream come true. But they're going to give it another try here, gentlemen. EG smoked up yet again. Universe with the package yet again. Will they be successful on this go around here? Oh, it's Crit moving in pretty deep from the team. They get an insta-global to take out this puck. It's a global down, but oh, the follow-up could be there too. They move in, they get the grab on Desai, they pull him right back into the arms of the rest of LGD, and they'll eventually bring him apart. And it looks like this could be the beginning of the end here. Even Sumail going to be spotted out on the side. His TP will get canceled. He will be brought down. Arteezy seems to be the only survivor already back home. The rest of LGD begin to party it out inside the Roche pit, though. Man, they are just crushing EG now in the second half of this game.
Yeah, and one thing to think about with the stats versus gold argument, right? So if we go back to that 120 GPM, so in about 20 minutes or so, that'd pay for a little bit more than the ultimate orb. And like that's fewer than the stats that he would just get, and he can take those right now. It's not really an investment. Maybe he's not expecting the game to go much longer, or he doesn't feel he has too much item progression left, in which he maybe needs that gold for. It's just a more reliable situation for him, and of course you want those stats badly on the CK anyway. So it makes sense. A lot of heroes are choosing this. I think for the Void it makes sense too, because 300 health, like Void, when you play Void, you're a hero that wants HP, but you don't necessarily want to itemize directly for it. So it does solve a couple issues there.
I think it's one of those things, even in a closer game, I mean, maybe even more so in a close game, but even if you feel like the game's going to drag for like 30, 40 more minutes, the stats are likely going to be better than the GPM even then. Plus 12 all stats is a ton. That's going to be one of the better level 20 talents out there. As we'll see LGD's next move with Aegis in hand. They've got to be feeling pretty brave at this point to look to break open this high ground.
Yep, their parade goes through the top lane here, and they will begin to ascend into the high ground now. They've already taken down one Rax, as we see there in the mid lane, and we got to see what the hell EG are going to do to try to defend this one. Their high ground defense, oh boy, they get a hold of Sumail. They are going to be able to pull him back in. He quickly gets all the help he could ask for. A Purge, a Glimmer, the Self-Decrepify, everything to make sure he stays alive. And he will for now. Arteezy now thinking about making his move in for Ame. Ame gets the helpful Force Staff to the low ground. The coil had been committed now from EG's side, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be very effective here. Ame moves in, hits out with the stun. He's managed to get the pullback, looking to go for the finish onto Sumail. Can they get it done? We're slide showing our way through it, but it looks like they did. Universe gets blasted there next. The boat Shark is going to be flying on forward, but EG have already been brought down, beaten badly and bloodied, bruised, and whatever B word you want to say. LGD, I think they got this one, and it's over. LGD will be the big boys on the block, it looks like, as they have now already taken down OG, EG, and LGD FY, their sister team too.
It was a pretty well executed game from LGD. Definitely some questions in the early game, I think, that arose, because they had such a good laning phase, and then EG just took some good team fights early on. It looked like EG